All right, I think it's fair to say that this has not been the best couple of weeks from Patrick Mahomes. It hasn't been the best start to his season. Now, I think it's insane to say, see, told you he's overrated, all that stuff. Like, okay, obviously, no, that's not true. But, like, has it been a bit of a disappointing couple of weeks? Yeah, it has. So let's talk about the game against the Chargers, which they lost, and talk about kind of what went wrong in it. So we'll start things off with this play. What's going to happen on this one? This is kind of a good example of a little bit of what went wrong. And listen, something I always bring up that's very important to bring up is that no quarterback looks good when players aren't getting open. This seems like it should be obvious, but it's something that people don't really think about too much. And my guess, my hypothesis for that has always been that you just don't see what's going on down the field. So when a quarterback is hanging on the ball for too long or throws it away, you think, man, why aren't you taking these chances? Well, there's not really always chances there. Anyways, what's going to happen on this play is it's man coverage, and it's a good example of kind of the difficulties that Mahomes faced against the Chargers. The Chargers defense played well in this one. Watch how right when this play starts, so you're going to notice that there's not a lot open, right? This is pretty good coverage across the board, and we can get into a little bit more of what they did. But again, this is the type of coverage that typically Mahomes eats alive, right? A cover one play, so there's only a single safety deep. It's man coverage, so you have one-on-one matchups with Tyreek Hill and with Travis Kelce. So he's going to decide to throw it to Kelce, but it's not getting as open. Look, Mahomes is going to try to make this one work, and it's actually Michael Davis, who's not known for being a great corner, but he played well on that one and did not allow for Kelce to get too open. And there was a window where maybe it could have been made, but Mahomes just didn't quite hit that small window. Would also say Mahomes' accuracy was just off, which is fine. You expect it to be better in future games. And there still were plays like this, because when I talk about how Mahomes has been disappointing or Mahomes' accuracy is off, I'm talking about that in relation to what we typically expect from Mahomes, which is obviously a very high standard, right? So a bad game for Mahomes is still a good game for most quarterbacks. But anyways, Kelce running a quick route over the middle, and this is going to be a great example of, like, Mahomes doesn't always need a ton of separation to make stuff work. Watch, right when this play starts, there's not a ton of separation. There's some, though. I mean, this is a play that Mahomes can make work, and just watch this throw. I mean, that's an absolute thing of beauty right there. So again, Mahomes, he still has these good plays, even if, you want to say, well, what about the other ones, which we are going to get to. It's not like Mahomes is playing horribly or anything. It is worth mentioning, there's the two main things I feel like I noticed from this game was that, okay, the Chargers defense played really well, and also that Mahomes, he missed a couple throws. Now we got to move on to this play. So there's one very interesting storyline that came up with this game, and it's by a guy by the name of Tavon Campbell, who I had never heard of. None of us really have ever heard of, unless you're like a diehard Chargers fan, because he hasn't done too much. He was an undrafted free agent, so it's not like he was a college star. He only had 326 snaps last year and looked, okay in them, I guess. Pro Football Focus said that he had a 115.3 passer rating against, so not spectacular. He'd taken one coverage snap heading into this game this season, and the Chargers said, okay, we're going to play you on Tyreek Hill a lot this game, which sounds insane, but there's actually some logic behind it. He's someone who has really good speed. He ran a 4.35 40-yard dash, so he's someone who can at least keep up with Hill in the speed department, even if maybe he can get beat with footwork. This play exactly is why they're okay with that. So it's a cover two man. You have Campbell going up against Hill right here, Hill running an out route. And it's worth mentioning, it's not like Campbell was only on Hill, but he definitely had a good amount of snaps on Hill and played really good in them. Watch, right when this play starts, so, you see Hill, he does what he does, right? He gets open using his route running. That's what makes him so great, is it's not just his speed, but it's his route running. So right here, this is typically when he can just burn by someone and get wide open. But I think what the Chargers their mindset was like, no matter what corner we put against Hill, Hill's going to be able to beat them right off the bat. So maybe let's just put Campbell there, so when he does get beat right off the bat, well, at least he can catch him, right? Other guys can't catch Hill. Mahomes saw this. Mahomes saw this whole route, and while there is some pressure, so he's kind of moving around a little bit, right now he isn't. He's going to in a second, but he right now could make this throw if he wants to. It is going to choose not to because he knows Campbell's coming back and going to close well. Mahomes then gets over to a second read. So, this is just one of the aspects that the Chargers were able to do to slow down Mahomes. There is no stopping Mahomes. It's all slowing down. But, putting two safeties deep so they can't have this deep stuff, having a corner who can at least match up against Hill okay, that stuff helps. Like, something like this was another great example of, well, it's actually going to be a bad play, but it's still a great example of what the Chargers wanted to have happen. The Chargers, the way that this Brandon Staley defense works is he basically says, oh, you can beat us. That's something you can do. You can beat us. We're just going to make you beat us in ways that you don't want to beat us. So in a play like this, Tyreek Hill, this route, sort of an underneath route against Campbell, like this is going to work out perfectly. Watch. So this little thing underneath, Campbell trying to keep up. Can't really entirely, comes close, but there just wasn't that much. It actually took another defender to bring him down. So that stuff can work, but the question is, do you want to do that all game? And the answer for Kansas City is no, they don't. They want to push the ball down the field and things like that. That's what they want to do. And basically what Staley said is, hey, the best way to beat us? Running the football. And Kansas City did, and they had some success that way. But basically you're turning Mahomes into just another quarterback instead of the greatest quarterback alive. And there was something like this. I mentioned some missed throws. I'm not going to go through each and every one of them, but this was a throw that he typically makes, and you typically have this value that they just, for whatever reason, didn't have this game. It's zone coverage, cover 2 zone, receiver's going to get into the gap right there, and watch what happens. Right when this play starts, so Mahomes fakes the handoff, and there is some pressure, so that definitely did affect the throw a little bit, you would assume. But also, these are the throws that Mahomes usually makes, even when he is a little bit off balance, right? That's something you expect him to make, and it's not even a horrible throw. But look, that is definitely way higher than he wanted to. Also could have been caught, hit his receiver in the hand. So it's just a little stuff like that, which is just a little clunky from the Chiefs. So on a Brandon Staley team that kind of forces you to have to try and play perfect, they weren't able to do that, which again, that's kind of the genius of this scheme against Mahomes is there will be plays where he makes a mistake and, throws one incomplete, but usually he makes up for it with a 50-yard bomb the next play. Well, you're taking those 50-yard bombs out of the offense. It makes things a little bit tougher on Mahomes, and we've seen him kind of struggle ever since, It's not like Todd Bowles was the first guy to do it to Mahomes, but he really kind of was the first guy to do it to Mahomes of play cover 2 and, put a fast corner on Tyreek Hill. All right, now let's get to the 3 turnovers slash, whatever you want to call them, because one of them, the first one, not actually a turnover, but it was a fumble that he recovered and was a lucky play. So this was an aspect that Mahomes just has, is his scrambling ability. Teams don't love playing man because Mahomes can run. My thought on that is, listen, if Mahomes has the football, I want him running. You run all day long. I don't want you throwing the football, right? That's dangerous. However, when Mahomes takes a snap, listen, it's still a very good part of his game. He's going to get outside the pocket. He's going to be able to run the football and pick up some yards, but then he just loses the football right there, and that just can't happen. He's kind of a little lazy with it, and didn't protect it properly. And this is kind of something that we've always seen from Mahomes, right? Basically, in college, this was the issue, and in the NFL, this was the issue. People, when they saw him in college, would say things like, "Okay, well, he's going to have to learn to clean that stuff up." Turns out he's so good in the NFL, he hasn't learned to have to clean that stuff up either. Oftentimes they say, "Oh, this player is so good that he, hasn't had to make mistakes because he's just been the best at every level." Well, Mahomes has continued to do that through the NFL, which is remarkable in its own right. But this year, we've seen just a few more of those go against them. Although not this time, because Mahomes recovers the fumble, so worked out there. Okay, now let's talk about the 2 interceptions. This one was an interesting one. So people were, I feel very split on this. Some people saying this wasn't his fault at all. Some people saying this was an insanely horrible thing that Mahomes did. How could he do this? So let's talk about it. It's a quarters coverage play, and you have, the way it is designed to work is multiple receivers kind of run, try and get into a gap in coverage. That's what you're hoping to have happen. Kelsey more of a decoy on this play. However, right when this play starts, it's not working out really too well. This is good coverage by the Chargers. That's what they do. They cover well. So at this point, this is kind of one of those, hey, this is where Mahomes can do his magic, right? Play didn't work at the line. That's fine. Time for him to add some value. He's going to scramble up a little bit. and watch what he does. So, okay, there is this scramble, and him using his eyes to look in a certain direction, that is adding value right here. That is absolutely important because both of those Charger players went to cover one of the Kansas City player. You have another Kansas City player wide open, right? That's exactly what you were hoping to have happen with this from Mahomes. I think that it's hard to really blame him too much at this point, right? Because again, some people were saying he didn't even have to do this no-look pass. Well, him using his eyes was an important part of this. Now, I do think it's fair to say he could have looked and then thrown. Like, that's fine. You don't have to do these no-look stuff if you don't want to. And again, it's kind of with Mahomes, he's gotten away with this stuff so much that he feels like he can do it. Also, watch what's going to happen here. He throws it. It's a bit behind, but also kind of a tough throw to make in general, and does kind of bounce up and gets intercepted. Like, as a whole, I think it's fair to say, like, yeah, he probably should have looked before throwing that. I think that's fair. I also understand why he didn't, because that's kind of how he's played his entire career, and it also is fair to say it's still a ball you got to catch. It is. So all of those things are fair, I think. I know the more fun take is to say, oh, Mahomes is super cocky. Mahomes thinks he can get away with everything. Well, I mean, he can get away with almost everything. That's why he feels that way. This is just one of the times it didn't work out. And the other interception, which is kind of a weird one. This is another one of those where it's like, okay, they were just a little bit off in this game. It's going to be a cover 2 man, and watch what happens on this play. Actually, before, just to mention, this is late in the game, so important pressure situation in a tied game. But yeah, watch what happens. Mahomes is going to take the snap right here. Nothing gets open right away, so Mahomes doing Mahomes things, extending the play, gets outside the pocket, and now he sees, oh, hey, Travis Kelce is open on this play, so that's pretty cool. And to me, all that this one looked like was that he's expecting Kelce to continue running downfield, and Kelce's going to stop. This looks more of a miscommunication than anything, because watch how Mahomes throws this down the field, and that one is going to get picked. So, like, yeah, not a great play. Also, kind of understand a little bit of how that happened. So, it's not a huge deal to me. I think it's fair to say that, like, Mahomes hasn't played as great as we typically expect of him. But again, a huge chunk of that is just we have super high expectations because there's people who consider him the greatest quarterback they've ever seen already, even though he's just, still so young. So yeah, he's going to have some high expectations. And when he only plays good, he's going to get criticized. But that's what I thought of his performance. So yeah, that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.